Hello, this is Ashi from Crafting with Ashi. This is the project we're going to make today. It's an art journal page. Really nice, I think. It just girls swinging in the sunset. Okay, so we're going to use a piece of our watercolour paper. So this measures 7 by 5. Okay, and we're going to be watercolouring on top of it. So I've got my spritzer full of water. I've got my aqua painter, and then I've got some ink pads. We're going to be using initially So Saffron. So this is the So Saffron ink pad, and I'm actually just going to put a drop of re-inker into the pad, into the lid here, or 2 drops, and that's going to be plenty enough for us to watercolour with. So initially what I'm going to do is take my spritzer, find the hole. I'm just going to spritz water over my page, all over the page, a good amount of water. And then I'm going to take my aqua painter, make sure it's working. It is. And then I'm just going to take a bit of colour and start to paint. As you can see, I want to cover the cardstock in colour. So just, if you feel like here I feel it's getting a bit dry or difficult to blend, I'm just going to add some more water, and then that should make it easy again to blend the colour. And the trick with painting, with any kind of colouring in, painting, colouring, everything, is to work in layers. Tons of thin layers are much better than one thick layer. So that's our first layer. I'm going to just let that dry initially, so I'll be back when it's dried. Okay, so that's dry, so now we can build up the layers again. I'm going to add a little bit more colour wherever I think it might need it, just randomly. But not too much, because I'm going to build up with other colours as well. So I think that's enough for the So Saffron. So let's close that up. Now I'm going to go in with some of this Mango Melody. And you can see I've still got quite a bit of colour here. And this is a much deeper colour, as you can see. So I'm going to bring it along. Spray again with my water bottle, my spritzer. Give it some, so it'll move nicely. And I can blend it nicely into what's there. And just want to keep working it in, building up the colours, the layers, as you know, whatever you like. There's no right or wrong way. It's the beauty of crafting. There's no mistakes. Just another chance to be creative. So I think that's going to be okay, because we're going to go in with our last colour, Pumpkin Pie, and then we're also going to be doing some sponging as well. So let's close up our Mango Melody and let's let this dry, and then we'll be back. Okay, so that's dry. Normally, I've just used a heat gun actually to dry this off. Normally I would let it dry naturally, but for the video I haven't got the time, so we're going with that. So now we're going to use some Pumpkin Pie, and this one I'm going to put in a re-inker. I'm just going to find the right one. 2 drops should be plenty. You don't need a lot of re-inker. This is extremely highly pigmented ink. You really don't need a lot, otherwise you're going to be in trouble. So I'm actually just going to give it a little spritz around there. Look at that, beautiful colour. Now this is, as I said, highly pigmented, so I'm only going to take this around the edges and blend it in, and I'm going to actually spritz again. My cardstock to get the colour moving, keeping it dark around the edges. Don't worry if it goes on your mat, that's what your mat is there for. And I'm not being very precise in my colouring, I'm just laying down the colour any way that takes my fancy. I want a bit more water here. Normally I wouldn't use a water brush, I might use a normal paintbrush, so I do feel it gives me a little bit more control, but I had the aqua painter out, so that's what I've used. Now okay, I think that's going to be fine. Okay, so let that dry and then we'll be ready to stamp. Okay, so that's our watercolouring done, as you can see. Now we're going to do some stenciling on the top. I'm going to use our stencils, the party pattern party decorative stencils. And I'm going to be using this one here with a sponge. And I'm going to be using the pumpkin pie ink. So here's our ink pad. Just going to take up a little bit of colour. I'm just going to stencil randomly. Around. Like this. Just to create interest where there's will be no other elements on the page. Okay, that's good enough for me. Let's close up our ink pad. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to die cut. Well, I've already cut the die actually. This is the die that we're going to use. Okay, and I've cut it out in black. It's part of these dies called the Sweet Silhouette dies. Okay. And we're just going to stick it down wherever we want it. So I want to have a little bit coming off the page, I think. So basically wherever you feel, something like that I think. And for the back I am going to use Tombow again. So let's bring in the Tombow. It's covered in glue, and I'm just going to move my craft sheet because I don't want to get glue all over the craft sheet, my grid paper rather, and I'm just going to put Tombow, not a lot, just very little, as little as I can get out, which is a lot. Unfortunately, because me and Tom, I don't have the light touch you need for Tombow. And now we're just going to stick this down, wherever it was I said. Yeah, that'll do. Something like that. And just make sure everything is stuck down properly, and I'm going to just use my cloth again, just to, the tissue sticks to the glue more than the cloth does, I find, for some reason. So just use this to ensure it's properly down. Okay, and don't worry about the bit going off, we're going to cut that off later. Okay, so that's what we've got so far. Okay, now on my other one I did do some stamping as well with this crackled paint stamp set, as you can see, but I'm not going to do that on this one, and see which one I like better. Well, maybe I will just do a little bit actually. Can't resist, can I? Okay, so this is our crackled paint stamp. I'm actually going to keep it in there for now, and then I'm going to bring in our So Saffron ink. So you just want it to be very subtle. I'm going to ink up, sorry for shaking everything, ink it up, and you're not going to stamp down, wallop like this. You're going to roll your stamp a bit, and you're going to get ink on you, I can tell you that now. And you just want to roll it and be totally imprecise, total antithesis of normal stamping. I can see I've still got ink up there, so I can use some of that up. Just like that. Actually going to stamp over. Okay, just to give us some extra interest. Okay, and as you can see, you get nice and inky. Okay, next thing we're going to do is close up our ink pad, and now we're going to do our stamping of our little girl. So the stamp set I'm using again is this one called Silhouette Scenes, and we're using this stamp set, and we're going to be using that saying. So let's get them out. Here is our little girl on the swing, and there is our sentiment. So I'm going to be using the Stamparatus to do this, because you're stamping on watercolour paper. Watercolour paper has a textured surface usually, and that means that you won't always get a good impression first time when you stamp, because it's not a smooth surface. So the best way to ensure you do get a good impression is to use something where you can stamp more than once. Okay, so let's put her where we think we want her. That'll do. Pick her up using our lid, ink her up. I would use StazOn for this, but as I've said many a time, I can't cope with StazOn, so I'm using a different black permanent ink. Okay, and we're just going to push it down, and really push down because of that textured surface. But as you can see, even then you don't get, well, you can't see so on the camera, you don't get the best impression. There's still a bit of light showing through it, and I want that to be totally black. So I am going to ink her up again and stamp again. And even stamp a third time, just to ensure she really is as dark as I can get her. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so take this off, And now move these, and then we're going to stamp our sentiment somewhere. I think somewhere like that will be good. Yeah. And do it again. Yeah. And take that off. Just wipe that off quickly. Okay. Put that out the way. So there we go. That's what we have so far. I'm just going to cut the excess off, as I said, of the tree that's hanging over the side. So let's just do that now. Bit of cardstock's stuck in there. Okay, so then we've cut off the excess. Sorry about the noise. There we go. Now, as you can see, her swing set doesn't reach up to the tree, but don't worry, this is what our markers are here for. And we're just going to continue the line up to the tree, like that. Okay, now last but not least, I'm going to use, I think, some pumpkin pie again, and we are going to sponge with our sponge again around the edge, just to create a really good border, because I think everything looks better when it's framed. If you don't want to do this, you don't have to. You can always skip it or do some other kind of a border if you want, whatever takes your fancy really, but I think it looks better with the border. Just clean off my sponge there a bit before I put it away. Okay, so there you go, I'm finished. So that's the one we just made. That's the one I made before. I think they both look great. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to subscribe and give it a thumbs up so YouTube know. If you want any information around about this video, about this project or anything, it'll be on the blog post that goes with the video on my website. I also wanted to let you know that I started a craft group on Facebook called All Things Crafty, Crafting with Ashi, and the link will be below, so please do join. It's a place where we can share all our lovely creations, projects and crafts and all sorts of stuff, so please do check it out. Thank you again for watching, and until next time, enjoy being creative. Bye!